Hello everyone and welcome to the YouTuber Hunger Games. In District 1 we have MatPat from Game Theory and Rosanna Pansino from Nerdy Nummies. In District 2 we have Roman and Remus from Sandersides. In District 3 we have Pat and Logan from Sandersides. In District 4 we have Virgil and Deceit from Sandersides. In District 5 we have PewDiePie and Sven. In District 6 we have Markiplier and Ethan from Unis Honest. In District 7 we have Vsauce and iDubbbz. In District 8 we have Jenna Marbles at Jax Films. In District 9, we have James from The Odd Ones Out and Jit Animations. In District 10, we have Dolan Dark and Mr. Beast. In District 11, we have James Charles and Jeffree Star. In District 12, we have Danny and Aaron from Game Grumps. Let the Hunger Games commence, and may the odds be ever in their favor. The Bloodbath. As the tributes stand on their podiums, the horn sounds. Virgil runs away from the cornucopia. Jenna Marbles grabs a shield leaning on the cornucopia. MatPat grabs a jar of fishing bait while James gets fishing gear. Vsauce snatches a pair of scythes. Rosanna runs away from the cornucopia. Remus runs away from the cornucopia. Hannah runs away from the cornucopia. Roman runs away from the cornucopia. Markiplier runs away from the cornucopia. Deceit, Logan, and iDubbbz get into a fight. iDubbbz triumphantly kills them both. Ethan runs away from the cornucopia. Mr. Beast gets a spear from inside the cornucopia. Jeffree Star grabs a shield leaning on the cornucopia. Jit Animation takes a sickle from the cornucopia. Aaron cannot handle the circumstances and commits suicide. To make a long story short, he's basically the Hunger Games version of a simp. Dolan Dark runs away from the cornucopia. Danny runs away from the cornucopia. James Charles runs away from the cornucopia. Jax runs away from the cornucopia. Sven runs away from the cornucopia, and PewDiePie stays at the cornucopia for resources. Danny tries to spear fish with his trident. Dolan Dark camouflages himself in the bushes. Jit Animation picks flowers. iDubbbz attempts to climb a tree, but falls on Sven, killing them both. Oh, PewDiePie's gonna be so pissed. James, Vsauce, Pat, and Jenna Marbles and Virgil hunt for other tributes. Ro injures herself. Ethan discovers a river. Mr. Beast and James Charles work together for a day. Markiplier, Remus, MatPat, and Roman hunt for other tributes. James Charles practices archery, and James Charles also practices his archery. 5 cannons can be heard in the distance. Logan, Deceit, Aaron, iDubbbz, and Sven. Night one begins. PewDiePie and Ethan hold hands. Patton questions his sanity. Ro receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. MatPat and Dolan Dark sleep in shifts. Roman and Jenna Marbles huddle for warmth. James sets up camp for the night. Jit Animations cries herself to sleep. Mr. Beats tends to his wounds. Roman strangles Danny from Greenhouse after engaging in a fist fight. Okay. James Charles receives explosive from an unknown sponsor. Remus and Jeffree Star sleep in shifts. Jax Films sets up camp for the night. Vsauce starts a fire, and Markiplier questions his sanity. Day 2 has begun. Remus searches for firewood. James Charles, Markiplier, Pat, and Jeffree Star and Vsauce hunt for the tributes. Virgil stalks MatPat for some reason. Ro constructs a shack. Jax Films, Mr. Beast, Dolan Dark, and James hunt for the tributes. Jenna overhears Roman and Ethan talking in the distance. Jit Animation diverts PewDiePie's attention and runs away, probably by the "Can you do this" meme. 1 cannon can be heard in the distance. Danny from Game Grumps. James Charles and Jit Animations run into each other and decide to truce for the night. For some reason, Jeffree Star stays awake all night. MatPat passes out from exhaustion. Jax Films tend to Jenna Marbles' wounds. PewDiePie looks at the night sky. Roman lets Patton into his shelter because they're buds. Dolan Dark and Vsauce sleep in shifts. James defeats Ro in a fight but spares her life. Markiplier receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Remus and Virgil sleep in shifts. Even cries himself to sleep, and Mr. Beast accidentally steps on a landmine, getting him killed in half a second. Day 3 has begun. Jenna Marbles taints Markiplier's food, killing him. James Charles sprains his ankle while running away from Roman. Ethan and Vsauce split up to search for resources. Virgil and James Charles hunt for other tributes. Patton constructs a shack. PewDiePie, MatPat, Remus, and Dolan Dark hunt for other tributes. Jit Animation scares row off. James practices his archery and Jax Films falls into a pit and dies. Free cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Mr. Beast, Markiplier, and Jax Films. Vsauce, Dolan Dark, and James cheerfully sing songs together. Patton is awoken by nightmares. MatPat sees a fire but stays hidden. Jane Animations attempts to start a fire but is unsuccessful. Roman destroys Rose supplies while she's asleep. Jenna Marbles accidentally steps on a landmine, getting herself killed in half a second. James Charles begs for Ethan to kill him, but he refuses, keeping James Charles alive. PewDiePie sees Jeffree Star talk. PewDiePie and Jeffree Star talk about the tribute still alive. Virgil is still awake all night. Typical Virgil, and Remus thinks about home. Day 4 has begun. Dolan Dark chases Row. Vsauce stalks Roman for some reason. Matt, for some miraculous reason, scares Jeffree Star off. I don't know how. Probably threatening to go ahead and steal his makeup. James tries to spear fish with a trident. PewDiePie makes a slingshot. Ethan stabs Jane Animation while her back is turned. Virgil forces Patton to kill James Charles or Remus. He decides to kill Remus. I think that's what Virgil was intending all this time. That was day 4, by the way. Free cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Jenna Marbles, Jane Animations, and Remus. Night 4 has begun. James loses sight of where he is. PewDiePie, James Charles, Patton, MatPat, and Roman track down and kill Virgil. Okay, Jeffree Star spears Row in the abdomen. Dolan Dark goes to sleep. Vsauce tries to treat his infections, and Ethan stays awake all night. Day 5 has begun. Patton makes a wooden spear. Vsauce makes a slingshot. Dolan Dark forces MatPat to kill James Charles with Jeffree Star. He decides to kill Jeffree Star. MatPat, I recommended that. I would have thought that you decide to kill James Charles, but apparently not. Roman steals from James while he's not looking. PewDiePie injures himself, and Ethan makes a slingshot. Free cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Virgil, Row, and Jeffree. Night 5. Roman destroys James Charles' supplies while he's asleep. PewDiePie tends to Ethan's wounds. Patton cooks his food before putting the fire out. James receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Dolan Dark, for some weird-ass reason, convinces MatPat to snuggle with him, even though I think there's like an age dip. Never mind. Vsauce thinks about home. The feast has begun. The cornucopia is replenished with food, supplies, weapons, and memoir from the tributes' families. Vsauce decides not to go to the feast. James Charles decides not to go to the feast. James decides not to go to the feast. Patton decides not to go to the feast. I wouldn't be surprised if everyone decides not to go to the feast. Okay. God. Roman decides not to go to the feast. Eve decides not to go to the feast. Everybody decides not to go to the feast. MatPat severely slices Dolan Dark with a sword. Nothing related to the feast. Day 6 has begun. MatPat, Patton, and James Charles track down and kill Roman. Long live the prince. James and PewDiePie hunt for the tributes. Vsauce makes a wooden spear. This is day 6, by the way. And Ethan intends to climb a tree, but falls to his death. Free cannon shots come here in the distance. Dolan Dark, Roman, and Ethan. James Charles looks at the night 6. James Charles looks at the night sky. James from the eye reserve. She's fresh free from an unknown sponsor. MatPat kills PewDiePie while he's sleeping. Okay, I see what you're doing, Matthew. Patton questions insanity, and Vsauce dies trying to escape the arena. Day 7. James Charles and MatPat hunt for their tributes. Patton explores the area, and James receives explosive from an unknown sponsor. 2 cannon shots can be heard at a distance. PewDiePie and Vsauce. James Charles receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Patton receives explosives from an unknown sponsor. MatPat defeats James in a fight, but spares his life. Finally. Day 8 has begun. James discovers a cave. MatPat tends to Patton's wounds, and James Charles practices archery. The arena event. A monstrous hurricane wreaks havoc. James Charles survives. Patton survives. MatPat pushes James and the odd ones out into an oncoming boulder. Jesus Christ. 1 cannon shot can be heard in the distance. James from the odd ones out. Night 8. James Charles and MatPat hold hands. And Patton loses sight of where he is. Okay. Day 9, James Charles fishes, Pat camouflages himself in the bushes, and MatPat searches for firewood. No cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Okay, finally, James Charles severely injures MatPat and leaves him to die. Patton accidentally steps on a landmine, which means James Charles, the controversial man of makeup, survives. He is the winner of the YouTuber Hunger Games. I don't know whether or not that says something about YouTube, but we shall proceed. This is everyone's place and how many people they have murdered. And let me go ahead and tell you this. Some of these guys were brutal, and some of these guys weren't the best. Here is the summary of what happened. In this Hunger Games. And here are the statistics. For everyone who was rooting for anyone but James Charles, I am severely sorry for your loss. Their YouTube channels and memories will live on in our hearts. However, if you voted for James Charles to be the winner, then congratulations, your YouTuber has survived. They will continue making videos, and maybe they will have a hint of PTSD from, brutally murdering their YouTube brethren. But hey, that is the YouTuber Hunger Games. Thanks for everyone watching this. If you have any ideas for a different Hunger Games, let me know. And of course, may the odds be ever in your favor.